welcome to Rippa Rambles with me, Jay the Ripper. And I should have got the message up in front of me, but I'll start this off. For any of you with the commitment to have watched all of the community rambles, in about 54 minutes in, I think, on the first one, I made a call out to any wargaming staff to reply and send me a message or something to say that they watched it. And I can confirm Max Chaos not only replied, he even quoted in whereabouts it was and said, with a winky face, I watched it. So, bravo to you, sir. I will ask back if you're watching this one. Did you watch it at work, though? Because if you listen to the thing straight afterwards, we were talking about the issue of the appearance to the outside world of Wargaming NA staff's interest in the game almost clocking off at the end of their day, and then not really following them outside of work. So if you just watched it at work, you sort of made the point a little bit. If you didn't watch it at work, then you rebutted the point. So I'd be interested to see what that is. I did actually respond and say, would Max like to, or or anyone else really, but specifically I said to Max, would he like to do either a community or an individual Q&A or some opportunity where he can talk and express his opinion? And I'd be interested to know if people would be interested in me doing interviews. Obviously, I'm going to do something with Carbide, but would people be interested in me trying to get NA people? So at the moment, I haven't bothered even trying to get into their CC program. I'm in the EU CC program. I know people like Sins were approached by Rybot, sorry. No idea why. You don't say Ryzens. It's Raisins, but anyway. So I don't know whether that would even be a potential thing, but who knows. But if people would be interested, that is something I can look at. But yeah, long story short. Well, short story long, because it's me saying it. Max Chaos replied. Now, I'm going to go on to something else quickly, but also point out that the response seemed to be generally positive, so there is a Patreon link in the descriptions. Should anyone wish to do that, it's there. As I said, at the moment, there's no tiering awards, there's no anything. It's just a thing. If people take it seriously at all, then I will do something based on the people who have Patreoned, the patrons. I shall hear what they say and say, look, do you want any sort of rewards? Do you want any sort of things because of this? If so, I will set it up. If not, then okay. I'm not going to I think the one thing I would not say is I'm not going to demand money for platooning. Put simply, anyone wants a platoon, send me a message saying I want a platoon or I'm up for platooning, and I will add you back. And then when you see me on or whatever, you can send me a DM, invite me to a party, join my party, whatever. I'm happy to platoon. Half the time I end up going on World of Tanks. I sit there for half an hour looking for someone that I know to come online, and then get disappointed when no one I know comes online, or if they are online, they're playing tiers I don't want to play, and so I go off. So, yeah, fun times. Now, slightly going back to what it's just said about what I said in the community rambles about the appearance of not really caring once they get off. Now, it's interesting, and I think Deco made a comment about, kind of interesting timing, but I don't think there is any relevance, but it is coincidental timing. That I'm going to actually, I've put them down as two different categories here, but I've got a little Word document in front of me about things I want to cover today, because I've got quite a lot of things to cover, and you know me, I can ramble on at the best of times. But I think I'm getting things out of the way kind of quick for me, this is good. I'm not going too off topic. So lead dev Jeff, I forgot his last name. I do apologise, Jeff. But your name is Jeff, and so I'm just going to stick with Jeff. Good name is Jeff. Don't see enough Jeffs these days. Anyway, Jeff called out that no one had. He would give rewards for Rybot being killed by artillery, because Rybot posted something about either nearly being killed by artillery or was killed by artillery, and first person to DM him will, get some form of prize. Now, I didn't bother pointing it out because I was just waiting for someone else to, and no one appears to. But he doesn't have DMs open, so it's entirely possible several people have killed Rybot by RT, but they can't DM Jeff because he has to follow them back to be able to DM him. So that's kind of funny. I also just like the premise that something that I'm pretty sure would get you banned from the forums is being done by some wargaming staff. Now, admittedly, it's about other wargaming staff, and it does become a slightly different thing. I'm just saying there's a slight hilarity to it. Because I know it's been spoken of, and it's ended up not happening, but one of the things that we've been talked to about, and we've been all up for, as you can ask, Sins, I think it was me, Sins, Beard guys at the time, Mad Friday, all said, yeah, we're up for that. About which was, they were going to, like, do a CC thing where we all got special accounts, so we all had to play, and it's basically one of those ones that, you know, where you get the little, like, target mark around them, and if you kill us, you get some gold, something like that. And so we've been called out for that sort of stuff, and we were okay with it, and it's a similar premise. I just thought it was quite funny, but it shows some minor interest. It's Rybot who it's really an uninstinct. Oh, sorry, I've been corrected repeatedly. So if I trip over the name Rybot a few times, it's that because I've always said Raybot, because as I said earlier, you don't say Ryzens. You know, well, you do if you're AMD, but no. You know, when I give my niece some dried grape thingies, I don't say, here, have some raisins. I say, oh, look, it's Martha's raisins. So I always said Raybot, because that's how it's spelt and said. But apparently not. But this is from the same games company who quite openly said, oh yeah, here's the Yahtzee, the Yahtzee, the Yahtzee, the Yahtzee. And it took me about 2 minutes on Google to find out that it's pronounced Yahtzee, not Yahtzee. Completely different pronunciation, but oh well. Not like you should have to be sensitive about, you know, the languages that you're trying to put anything out in. No, who cares about things like that? Anyway. So, yeah, there is showing Raybot and to some extent Jeff are showing some interest outside of work, so that's kind of cool. Step in the right direction. And going back to something I've been talking about, I think we talked about it in the community rambles, I talked about it in the Rippa Rambles, which is marketing. And I said someone asked me, you know, what would I do different? And basically marketing them better. And the Deathstalker is both marketing done right, but rewarding done bad. So I didn't even think about this point. I was going to do this point anyway about marketing done well. So the amount of hype, sort of almost, that's around the Deathstalker, it's nuts. Like, it's unbelievable. I've not seen this much hype around, like, a premium tank that wasn't the Type 59, which was an utter disappointment to anyone who had not looked at the stats. And no one knows what this Deathstalker is yet. And so, by not telling people, there is interest been created in that regard. And that's working really well for them. But the Deathstalker is one of the tanks that gives you bonus points towards the op. And it's still not out yet, and we're a decent way into this grind thing. So, marketing done right, but rewarding done a bit wrong, I guess. I mean, yeah, you can buy the other two, which have been out since day one. But what if someone doesn't want those, and they specifically want that whatever the Deathstalker turns out to be? Well, they're not going to get the same reward as the person who bought the other thing that's supposed to be giving the same reward of the bonus points. Seems a bit silly to me. But, you know, it's some concept of marketing done right. It's not, here's something shoved in your face. Buy it either soon for more money or later for less money. But, you know, still more than it should cost. Because random amounts of gold cost added in for no apparent reason. Now, I always got fun little strings inside my head, and I don't say half of them. Sometimes I wonder if I should, but at the same time, probably not. Probably not. So, with PC getting front lines recently, it was a question I was thinking about myself, which is, will console ever see front lines? And I think, at the moment, the best I can say is I doubt it. It just doesn't seem likely. I don't think console, as long as Xbox 360 is supported, I don't see it coming. And this is not me calling for Xbox 360 to be removed. As I spoke to, again, about with Deco on the thing, there's a lot of people, there's a surprisingly large number of players who still play on 360. And you might think, well, why is that? This, all in all, World of Tanks is a free-to-play game. And the sort of person, and this is not meant in any sort of, I'm going to say derogatory, but I guess, yeah, derogatory or degrading term or meaning, but a lot of the people who, if they're still on playing on an Xbox 360, the low price probably means more to them than anything. And the Xbox One has not come down yet to the same sort of prices that Xbox 360 had. So a lot of people aren't going to be that interested in buying it. You know, they spent whatever amount on their Xbox 360. Until it stops being supported, they have no reason to move up. And so they're still playing it. And why not? But they're also the same sort of people who probably aren't spending very much money. Now, by definition, this means they're not necessarily the sort of what players wargaming need around. You know, they're not the sort of whales or the cash cow sort of thing that you're going to get from, you know, people playing on the One X and all that sort of stuff. But they are a percentage of the player base. And considering the complaints already about a dwindling player base, the last thing you should really be doing is cutting off 1% of that player base. I mean, even if it's 2%, that's 2%. It's quite noticeable. I know I can't remember how long ago that was, but I did an article for Rita's blog about numbers and stuff, and in that I checked the stats and got it confirmed by Wargaming that on a particular weekend there was 19,000 people, I think it was, at peak on one of the platforms. Not both, just one of them. And then, you know, like 11, 12, 13, something like that on the other. Today, you don't even see, like, the 19,000 was on Xbox. I don't think I've seen 11k beaten as a peak since in the past, like, month or so. Even with a grind up like this, I'm not seeing 11k people on. Now, maybe I'm just not on it, you know, maybe the right times are now 1, 2 a.m. in the morning, and I'm not generally on at those sort of times anymore, but you know, I just don't see it being the case. I don't see the player base being large enough to support cutting a chunk out. Yes, this is going very off topic, but basically, as long as 360 is supported, there's no way we'll see Frontlines. And if PC, did I say PC? If Xbox 360 is supported, there's no way we'll see Frontlines. And if Xbox 360 gets dropped, then maybe. But I don't know how well it'll work. It's going to be complicated. It's going to be a lot of deving for them to do. So, kind of, I guess we'll have to see. But I wouldn't hold your hopes up, and I certainly wouldn't expect to see it this year. 2019, maybe 2020, assuming the game even still lives then. All right. Next one. Observations about PC versus console. Now, I watch a lot of PC streams, especially, I'll be honest, Orthanal is generally my favourite. I do like to watch some Fosh YouTube videos. I think Sirkin is a very, very good player, and I probably could never be as consistent as him. But a lot of the way he plays is not something I aim for or I promote as gameplay. As Jingles will point out, he makes everything he does look easy, and he undoubtedly does incredibly well to do what he does. But the sort of thing he does in terms of noticing that a flank has a % chance of falling, and so to save himself from getting, you know, overrun and doing very little damage, he will fall back and farm damage as he falls back and use the people who are dying, who he's left to die, to get the damage. And that is generally what a lot of good players do. And their argument would be, well, yes, but I know I can do this amount of damage extra, and that for me means that there's a better chance of winning the game. But a lot of the times when you break these things down, not usually the case. If you manage to support those people by keeping by keeping their health pools alive, you'll often find that the win rate will be better. So I don't normally approve of that style. It's nothing against the person. I think, as I say, he's an unbelievably good player. That's not for me. I don't like that. I don't generally like the fallback and abandoning people to their deaths. Don't get me wrong, I do it on occasion, but only if it's like I think the thing is when people do it, even when it's like a 50-50, because they don't want to take the risk, because you're too reliant on your team. And I hate doing it because I know half the time when I rely on my team, it's going to backfire on me. But I don't know, maybe I'm too optimistic these days. Maybe I'm too kind of, that guy, hopefully he'll pull off at least one shot. He'll pull off one shot. That's all he's got to do. Pull off. He missed that one. You'll get the next one though. And you know, and I generally try and I usually try and put myself in a position where I can still fall back if it fails, but where I'm still being at least a bit helpful. Now usually that means I end up taking like an extra bit of damage on the when I do fall back if we do lose it. But occasionally it means that we win that flank against the odds. So you never really know. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Anyway, going back, this is what I'm on about. This is why it's a Rambles. PC versus console, and I've been saying this for a while. So I've only got a few thousand games on PC, but I've watched tens of thousands of PC game footage. I've probably watched more PC footage than I've played and watched console footage combined. And there's something that I think comes across quite regularly. I've had some really I've tweeted some really bitchy things recently about this, that, and porn map knowledge and all this sort of stuff. And it is one of the things I tend to notice, is specifically that. So on console, things like the beach on Overlord. On Overlord, if people go down to the beach, like more than like 2 people, the chat will just start laying into them. The chat on PC will start going, oh, a bunch of morons, cancer, I want them to die, AIDS, all sorts of horrific things. But they lay into them for being idiots. And I think that's basically started off with, I mean, you've had a few people, probably super unicums who understand map meta, who know about it, who know that there is, and this is just for anyone watching in case they didn't know this. I have done a video about this, and you can go back and find it, which is a video on what you need to know. There is literally 0 meta value to the beach. Absolutely none. There is never any reason to be down there. Even if there's a cap circle down there, you should not go there unless, if the enemy all floods it, then arguably that's great, because you can now surround them, shoot down at them, and flank them from every direction. They are literally screwed. So, there's no reason to be there. Ever, full stop, zip, nada, nothing. And on PC, you rarely get what you get on console, which is the absolute lemming trains of people going down there. Now, I was going to say idiots going down there, but this is the bit I have to then correct. So what you'll see is you'll get people on PC, and they will be going to the right positions. You'll have, someone was commenting about, yeah, but the thing is, in my tanks with very little gun depression, there isn't many places I can go up top, so I tend to go down to the hill. Now, on the video, I talked about this, and there are certain places you can go, and by going there, you tend to do very well. Now, on PC, you will get, the said players going there. IS3 is going down to that, second and third tier down, craggy, like lots of craggy rocks sort of bit, usually where the cap flag is for encounter, where there's lots of rocks and bits of ground which you can peek over and stay completely hull down behind. And what you'll find is they'll get there, and you get like an IS3, and for every shot, he could quite easily stay hidden, hull down, snapshotting you beautifully. But he will just poke to such an extent that he's just exposing his entire flank. And you think, oh, well, that was a bit silly. He must have, held W a bit too much, or lag spike, or whatever. No, he did it again. And again. And again. And I used to play my Motherland, it's probably my most played tank on PC. It's not Motherland on there, it's a, T54 Mod 1. And I would literally sit there with, like, 3 IS3s just bouncing off my side while I'm side-scraping in the Mod 1. And then just every so often, once I know that there's a good chance, poke, fire, snapshot off into one of their tracks. If I keep one of them tracks, perma-tracks, and kill him, then so be it. And you just that shows no ability. There's no ability being shown in what these people are doing. There's map knowledge and there's tactical knowledge, but there's no ability. And then the thing is, you then see the complete opposite on console. And what you'll see is you'll see people going down as I say, the bottom of the beach. But they'll be side-scraping, they'll be aiming for weak spots, they'll be tactically switching between APCR and AP, or heat and AP. You'll see, crap, there's a Borsig, better load a HE round. You'll see them sort of wiggling and angling and doing, ability-wise, doing great things. But their tactical knowledge is clearly shocking. And I'm sorry if any of this counts to you, but these are not hard things to change. Now, Overlord I can specifically bitch about because I've literally done a map video explaining it. Now, I did intend on doing all the maps and having like a playlist that has basically all the maps in rotation currently on. But I spent probably 2.5 years asking for the maps so that, so some form of HD file of them so that I could do this, because it's really difficult to try and it's crap basically if you take a screenshot, say, from within game and then try and blow it up or something like that. You can't use the press select one because it's got all the stuff in the background and so it looks daft. It just looks crap. So eventually Raybot sent me a message saying, oh yeah, Rybot sent me a message saying, yeah, okay, look, here's a cop. I think she sent me an advanced link, which, because at the time I had CC status, I was able to see, which most people couldn't. And looked at it, and it was all the map things. And so I went and I downloaded all the ones that were currently in rotation at that point. So I went and downloaded them, and everyone was like, "Yay, great!" And then about 3 weeks after that, they completely changed the map designs. Not the actual in-game maps, but the bottom corner map. All of them got changed to how they look. Which means using the old one is a tad redundant, because if nothing else, the old ones were crap. The new ones are far better. The topography on it is just far, far better. But then they never got updated. And it's just like, what do I can't do anything with that. So I still would like to do that sort of thing. There's a number of things, everyone who watches my video knows I have a lot of things I want to do, and whether I get around to them is another thing, because my mind's a bit like a yo-yo and I go off in lots of different directions. But yeah, I would love to do that. And it's just a random observation that I'm making. These things aren't hard to learn, and it goes back to what I said in the article I was talking about earlier, of PC players are far more interested in the game outside of the game. They are far more interested in watching YouTube videos. They're far more interested in learning about the game. And the thing is, sometimes, yes, it's forced down their throat. On console, a guy shouting in chat, "Oh, what you doing, you idiots? Don't go down there." Most people go, "Oh, just he's salty moron, blah blah blah," and just mute him. Or a lot of people just have chat turned off. I know I usually do. And so there's no information being passed from player to player in the game. On PC, there's a good chance if there's 2 of you going down somewhere, and then 13 people are telling you you're wrong, and then that happens game after game after a few games, and usually you having terrible games, you're probably going to start figuring, they might be right. Better go somewhere else. And eventually, yeah, you were going to go the wrong place. So say a Maushan is going to go to the, again, speaking on Overlord, that bit in the far side with all the hills, I don't know. You know what I mean? The opposite end to the beach. I can't remember which way it's around, the map's orientated. So I think, if I remember correctly, if the beach is on the east, this is on the far west. People doing that sort of stuff, and they'll go, "Oh no, it's turned out to be the wrong place." Then they'll try, slightly more in the centre, and they'll go, "Oh no, that doesn't work either. I don't have the gun pressure." And then they'll try the bit slightly more to between the centre and the west, all the craggy bits, and they go, "Oh great, I don't need my gun depression here. I can side scrape. Oh, this is brilliant. It works here," and that seems to work. And you get people that seems to be forced on them almost because of people telling them, and unless they have chat turned off, in which case they're going to end up being those 2 people forever. But on console, you don't really have that. But at the same time, there is more. As I said, the same sort of thing. If you've got a gaming console, I'm aware consoles these days, especially the Xbox, are these universal things. For TV, films, Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, all sorts of things. But if you played Xbox before, the chances are you were a gamer. Now, yeah, okay, so someone might make the argument a serious gamer is the one who spent £1,500, dollars, etc. on their computer, but a lot of people are quite happy being a console gamer. But I think there's a higher percentage of gamers playing console tanks, and therefore their ability things shine through, because these are people who they've learned quite quickly. Oh, angle, right, okay. Oh, that really works, right, okay, I'll do that. But then they don't seem to have the same ability, kind of, I don't know how to word it, but the same pickup of tactical knowledge. So they end up doing really stupid things. But then while they're there, they do really good things. And it's why often you see some of these mental games on console. I think it does come down to it, because there's a lot of the time places where on PC, yeah, 1 in 10,000 games, you're going to have an absolutely monstrous game there. But the other 9,999 are going to be godforsaken awful. And so people would rather have lots of consistently good games going somewhere else on PC. But on console, people seem to do that 9,999 games in the horrendously stupid moronic position because they have that eventually got that one monstrously amazing game. And it just, I don't know why, but that just seems to be how it works. If you disagree with me, let me know. If you've seen any observations of your own comparing, PC versus console player base, again, let me know. I'm all about hearing your opinions. If you think I'm wrong, please tell me why. Don't just say you're wrong. Kind of want to know why. And then moving on to a kind of interesting one, and I think it's a bit of a non-topic. There's a lot of hype around War Thunder, and I think it's going to be a damp squib because this is not the first time. Now, going back, Circon made a big deal about War Thunder when it was bringing out tanks. So did Jingles. I think Foch probably talked about it. I wasn't really watching Foch at that time. At the time, weirdly, at the time of that happening, I was watching Jingles, Quickie Baby, and Circon, and Orzanal, and Pointy Head Jedi, and all these people on a very regular basis. And at that time, all of them said, you know, War Thunder, this could kill tanks. This is going to really... I think Jingle said it's not going to kill it, but it's certainly going to open their eyes, make them work harder, make them do this less and that more, and all sorts of stuff like that. And I think there was panic in World of Tanks. I think Wargaming had a genuine, oh god, what are we going to do here? You know, the player base is crying out for more simulator aspects. And if you remember about at that sort of time, they tried adding the historical mode in, where, you know, people could have like a Tiger, 3 Panzer IVs, and a few Panzer IIIs against a load of like Shermans or something, or a load of church, I don't know, you know, actual things. And, you know, you'd have like 5 on one side, 9 on another. And it was this sort of thing. And they all ended up failing. But they were trying desperately to make these sort of things work, because there was this call for sim, for realism. And the player base was shouting, up in arms, really, we want this, we want this. And there was, you know, there was no alternative at that point. It was World of Tanks or go home. And suddenly War Thunder comes along. Oh god, they're giving them the sim. Oh god, what is this? Oh, what if the player base goes? And War Thunder launched, and they're desperately trying to make all this stuff to this, you know, historical mode, and adding bits of realism to tanks and all this sort of stuff. And the server has a big drop. Loads of people disappear, and War Thunder has this, you know, huge kind of influx of players. And about 2 months later, every single one of them, minus about 5,000 or so, maybe 10,000, are back. And Wargaming go, oh, they didn't actually want that. They just thought they did. And if you're wondering what I'm on about, now, admittedly, I still have grievances with War Thunder. I used to love War Thunder. So if you go really far back, you'll see I start putting test footage out. At that point, I played it far more than I played World of Tanks. In fact, I probably put nearly as many hours into War Thunder in about 7 months as I did into World of Tanks console. I still have not, in the nearly probably over 5 years now of playing World of Tanks console, I still probably have not put as much time into it as I put into War Thunder in that amount of time, because War Thunder was just so much fun, and the games were a lot longer. You know, an hour and something game was entirely feasible on War Thunder. And they removed a load of little stuff to make it slightly more playable and enjoyable to play. And I didn't like that, weirdly. I found it annoying and pointless. Why offer me something that's a sim if you're then going to take it away? I would much rather it was far more realistic in certain regards. I'm aware there's certain things that have to be sacrificed, but, you know, that's neither here nor there. So, on War Thunder, when you get a tank, you do not have a fire extinguisher, you do not have spare parts, and you don't have a lot of stuff. You don't have the best ammunition. You better. Now, War Thunder is far cheaper for premium time, and the premium tanks themselves and premium planes are far cheaper. That, I have to say, that was always a massive selling point for me. But, as I say, no repairs, no anything like that. Now, a half-decent player on that will quite quickly learn, shoot them in the gun. You come round a corner, you're aiming up at some guy's weak spot, and he just shoots you in the gun. Now, you're in your second or third game in that tank. You haven't unlocked spare parts. Crap. What am I going to do? Now, I think they then made it so you can repair in some capture flags. So you go, right, okay, I now need to, I'll run away. I'll run away, and I'll get to a thing. Well, he sees you trying to run away, and although he can't penetrate you at that angle, he shoots your track off. Now, you don't have spare tracks either. So now, you can't move, where you can go in like these kind of weird limp circles. You can't fire back. What do? Nothing. Put simply, you just wait until he kills you. Assuming he decides to kill you. I have seen people who just go, meh, you're fucked now. I will wait until you J out. I won't even, that's, if you held J, you leave your tank and it destroys itself. Sort of like a self-destruct. Because they will get the kill. They will be credited with the kill because they're the one who damaged you. And anyone who did any major damage to the tank gets the kill if the tank accidentally kills itself. So say the same sort of situation happened, but they'd penetrated you, hurt you, and then you accidentally fell off a cliff, or you just get pissed off and J out, they get the kill. So, now admittedly, it also used to be that if you were driving too fast and you try and turn, you could tear your track off. I think officially you can still do that, but I used to do that all the time. Like, you know, if you're in like a T-34 and you are absolutely roaring it down a hill at like 40 kph, and then you try and turn really sharply, and you twist and you twist and you catch a rock and bam, there goes your track. And then I've done the same thing like repeatedly to test it to see if it'd get it done after they made some of these changes to make it more, inverted commas, playable, player friendly, in other words, idiot friendly, and they wouldn't rip off now. And so people get annoyed by, you know, the fact that there's this sort of stuff in the game, and you'll be driving along and there's no spotted, there's no anything like this unless you're playing arcade. Even if you are playing arcade, if he's got a better crew than you, you might not be able to see him, but he can see you, and he shoots you. And because arcade, it tells you where to aim, they don't even have to do anything. They just have to point the gun up until the little cross thing goes green, and bam, you're dead. You never saw it coming. There was nothing you could do, and back to the garage with you. That was fun. Let's do it again. Oh, same thing happened again. Right, next. Oh, same thing happened again. Let's try. Oh, same thing again. Oh, this keeps happening. And you'll find this quite often. And it sucks. It really does suck. It takes a lot to get into that game. And a lot of World of Tanks players who are calling for it now and saying how they're going to leave console when it comes, I think about 99% of them will be straight back to World of Tanks console, because they're going to realise they were talking out their arse about what they actually want. It's not happened. The point is, it's already happened. Wargaming have already been through this. Oh no, what's going to happen? And then, oh, nothing happened. Bit of a damp squib. Completely, you know, anticlimactic. And so will War Thunder be a threat? Probably not. I don't think it will make a damn difference. I think not one of the members of staff there has thought, oh god, no, oh no, it's coming. I'm going to have to do X more. I think they've all gone, it did nothing last time. I don't think it'll do anything again. So I think that's just not going to do a damn thing. That's my opinion on that. Right, and then last thing, because I thought this was going to be like a 20-minute one, because although there was a lot of things, they were all small things, but as usual, I can't shut up. So, last one. Things to aim for in World of Tanks console. So I'll probably try and actually there's no point linking it because yeah, whatever. Well, if you follow me on Twitter, well, if you don't, go follow me on Twitter. If you do, you'll see I tweeted earlier about 3-marking a tier 10 tank. So I've never 3-marked a tier 10 tank. I've 3-marked very few tanks. The only tanks I've really 3-marked have been I 3-marked the Edelweiss as a joke because I really enjoyed playing it and was grinding silver, and while grinding silver to buy like 3 tier 10s, so I was playing it a lot. I got up to like 90%, and a mate of mine said go 3-mark it, and I was just like, I don't 3-mark tanks like this. You know, no, just 3-mark it. You can do it. I was just, yeah, I probably won't. I'm not consistent enough. You just freaking do it. It's like fine. So I did it. And then I've done a couple of ones where I've, you know, long grind. So the 1375. I ground from stock. I've mentioned it before in the video. I ended up with like 10, 15k WN8 every play session over the last like 5-6 days of grinding it, and managed to get up to like 98% or something daft like that. Which wasn't bad, as I say, considering it started off as a stock grind. Obviously, my stats in it now look crap because, you know, the matchmaking change. It now sees tier 5s opposed to tier 9s on a regular. Yeah, it would have seen tier 10s before, actually, wouldn't it? Yeah. Anyway, so I'm interested in things that people would like me to aim for. So whether they want me to see me 3-marking some tanks. So whatever gets chosen in that, I'll probably do a road to 3-marks. And I tried to do a road to tier 10 for the Czech line because I do quite like the TVP. But one, they've nerfed it for no apparent freaking reason because they don't understand the term balance. And 2, I hate lower tiers. I absolutely hate them. Honest to God, I can't stand playing tiers like 2 to 4. Occasionally it's fun if I'm in like a 5-man or 3-man platoon with mates doing like T127s or Panzer 1Cs. At that point it's a laugh, you're not doing it with any sort of seriousness. But when you're actually trying to play a tank, you know, properly, get the XP done, get the win done, get your ×2 and grind it, the number of times you run into people in OP tanks firing nothing but APCR, the number of times you play just people doing the most moronic things. It's one of the things I sometimes outthink myself. I sort of think, oh god, that guy's going to be clever, he's going to do this and he's going to do that. And so, I try and outthink the opposition, and by the process outthink myself because he did the simple thing. And so you think at lower tier, okay, people will do the simple thing, the obvious thing. And then you think, and then they don't. And you think, oh, so you're thinking, oh, so therefore, they do the complicated thing, they outthink you. No, they just do the thing that makes no logical sense. The people playing at that tier, for me, especially the ones who seem to play it most often, I imagine they're the sort of people who don't even understand the game. They're the sort of people who, at tier 8 and 10, are still firing HE because they think it is better. And you play against them, and they're awful. There is no other way to say this. They are awful. And it's very rare that I say this about players on the game, because I think everyone has a lot of potential. But I really don't want to be. My version of rage messaging these days, if they're rage messaging me, then I troll them. Oops, sorry, hit the mic. And if it's me rage messaging them, I actually offer to help them and offer to help them get better at the game. Now, I've usually been told, I get quite often told, you're wrong or you're shit or something like that. But it's the thought that counts, I guess. I'd rather try and help. I wouldn't try and help these people. I don't think you can. It's the sort of stuff, and the irony is it usually ends up getting me killed because I can't, I've had things where people have done just unbelievably daft things, and it's the sort of stuff where, at higher tier you'd call it YOLOing. So things like 2 tanks who decide they're gonna kill me, and they're gonna kill me because I'm holding down our position, and it doesn't win them, it loses them the game, but it ruins my game. And I'll have a load of people camping behind me in TDs and mediums and heavies because it's low tier and they don't really understand the concept of map control. And then like 3 or 4 people will just YOLO forward and kill me, and there's no logical sense to it. There's no sort of out thing, and every single one of them will die. Most of them will not even get much damage off, if any damage off, because there's only say like 300 and something health to go around, and they all get absolutely slaughtered by the people behind me. Or people driving. I've had like people driving off cliffs, not to land on me, but getting behind me. I once had this thing where about 3 people drove off a cliff, and almost all of them lost most of their health to do it. But because of the health you have at that tier, you can't afford to take 3 hits because that is enough to kill you. So they dropped down behind me. I killed the guy in front of me, managed to push around the corner to try and get away, but they then managed to get shots into my ass as I did it, and I died. And it's just like, why would you do that? Again, they lost the game, and they all died shortly after. It's things that to me don't make any logical sense, and it bugs me, as you can tell by the fact that this, what should have been about 40 seconds of I don't like that tier, has turned into a small rant. But yeah, so what would people like me to aim for? Is there any targets they'd like me to do? 3 marking tanks. That's pretty much the only one I can really think of, which is sort of the issue. I can only really think about 3 marking tanks. But if they want, grind a certain line, review a certain tank, I don't know. Grind a certain amount of silver, see what the highest silver game I can get is. This sort of stuff. Anything like that, whatever you can think of. I can't think of very many things. That's just why I'm asking. So let's try and cut this short because this has been going on forever. Thank you very much for watching / listening. Jeez, I can't speak English. So, thank you very much for listening. I've been Jack the Ripper, and as always, I'll see you on the battlefield. No, it's Nikki. Wait, you're on Assassin's Creed now? I was going to say, Diablo's changed.
Yeah, I'm on.
So the question is, where the fuck is the second one?
I don't know, maybe ran off towards the other 2. Other 3.
Yeah,
so they can
or the other direction, I don't know. If that guy pings them up one more fucking time, I swear to God, I'm gonna go up there and strangle him with his own
that's where the other guy is.
Oh, perfect. I'm fucked then.
Director of the light.
Hey, game balance! Miss by country miles still do 450 and track permanently. Fantastic! Awesome design! Yes.
That was fucking... Did I not call this happening?
Oh God!
Meanwhile, in Retardistan,
Retardistan.
there appears to There appears to be a house there. That's weird. Archie not smart.
Oh, that is so predictable.
I like how he missed my tank by like basically 2.5 times the length of my tank and still tracks me and does 400 damage.
Prem rounds on that thing have like, was it 13.5 spotting?
It's almost 16. It's almost 16. Yeah, sit out in the open.
Ooh.
You know, he doesn't get hit by a single RT. Like all four of them fucking shoot at him, and he doesn't get hit once. Nice.
Battle of the RNGs commence.
Meanwhile, the Object 261 just hasn't moved because RT doesn't have engine. RT does not move. RT does not do stuff.
I assume this guy's AFK, to be fair.
No, he turned. Like, he's turning. He's just not moving. Because why move when you can just sit around and be useless?
Right. Shall we back out, or are we going to watch this?
I gotta see how this ends.
Yeah, I want to see those retards lose. And by retards, I mean the 2 retarded baguettes that we have on our team. It's like, I'm not spotting anything. Maybe if I move 2 more meters. Weird, still nothing.
Thing is, if like one of those guys, say the T92 or something, has like a camo net or something, they're probably not going to spot them. If they're sat in a bush with a camo net, it's... Oh, hey up, hey up.
Yes, let's reverse. Do not engage enemy tank. Reverse so you can get shit in the face by the other.
T92's just going to fucking blap him now, isn't he? Right, please push round.
Yeah, look at the other guy. He's like...
Right, he's just fired.
I mean, the thing is that...
Why are you not turning your...
What's happening?
What did you say?
What did I miss?
It's... I don't know how to word this. I don't know what to say.
You know what the best part is? He spotted the T92 going the other way. He could have just driven around the corner and shot him. Nope. He backs off, waits for the T92 to turn around, and his friend goes in, dies, and then he goes in and dies.
Oh, I've recorded the audio and video for this, like, so it's core raging and everything. Oh, this is brilliant.
Well, I'm not really raging.
Okay.
It's just fantastic game design.
Saying how terrible they are, let's just say.
I mean, I'm just gonna ask that one.
I genuinely thought that this guy must be... Oh, watch him go. Please let him win this.
He's not gonna win this.
He missed.
He aimed for the past 17.5 years, and he misses. I am like, words cannot describe.
Oh, they miss.
Well, they can't really properly hit him there. At least the baguette chat can't. But that's not important because there's T92. Yes, it's still...
Go on, 261, 261, 261.
You know what the best part is? The 14 in his gamer tag is probably the amount of working brain cells that he has left. But it's still enough.
Still enough.
It's still enough. Now watch the M53-55 just drive over the ridgeline to his... No. No, he's just like... Perp. Perp.
Fire!
Fire the gun!
What is fire button? Keep turning tank like retard instead.
What is going on?
What the fuck am I watching?
I like that he's doing evasive maneuvers, even though the other guy's already fired. Not really.
Watch him get killed by blind fire now.
Just gonna go back to exact same. Oh dear.
Yeah, I mean, the game's gonna end in 13 seconds. I'm just interested in seeing who did more damage.
It's gotta be them, surely.
Yeah, I would assume so.
Because we had more. We had less tier 10 artillery.
Yep. Yep. Oh, that was just amazing.
Oh man.
That was fucking
Wow.
hysterical.
I mean, I have to give it to our
All his damage was artillery.
baguette arties. Yeah, I know. I know, man.
I like how few of them actually
He
hit
fired
anyone.
10 shots?
Yes, he did. But it didn't really have to hit much, you know.
Just a team.
Like the CGC, for example. He missed me by so much, and he still did like. How much was it? Like 800 the first time and 400 the second time, because that's balanced.